is timber the savior of our industry when it comes to sustainability in the volume that we need to build? We're hearing in every country that in every capital city, that there's a housing crisis, there's accommodation issues, and we need to build more infrastructure and so on. So,
I mean, I'm glad you said sustainability perspective, because I think the first question is, who are we trying to save?
Yeah.
You know, the very first instance is we need to be building and creating much less.
Yeah.
You know, we would hope that 90% of the buildings that we will have in 50 years are the buildings that we already have.
Yeah.
But I think that does segue onto a point around, you know, you talk about house building.
Yeah.
And, you know, often I'm asked this question. And in the past, you know, we've delivered, you know, novel volumetric house building systems, and those are very good and useful in lots of ways. But I think in our business, we've always thought of it as a means to an end. You know, it surprises people sometimes when I talk about our business and say that we aren't really particularly timber people.
Yeah.
You know, we're sustainability people.
Yeah.
And actually, we're embodied carbon people. Now, if you take house building as an example, there is a great opportunity for delivering mid-rise housing across the country at scale, solving lots of the problems that we have in terms of labor supply, you know, the traditional
off-site
skills,
manufacturing, if you like.
all of those sorts of things.
Yeah.
But the flip side is a large proportion of how we solve our housing crisis will be in those two-story, run-of-the-mill, slightly sprawling, hopefully slightly less sprawling estates that we build. And, you know, I would say mass timber is not the solution for that.
Yeah.
You know, ultimately, just because wood is a sustainable material and there is value in storing carbon, using our cities as urban carbon sinks, by the same token, putting more material into a building than we need and bringing it over from Austria or whatever it is that we need to do to deliver that's not the right solution. So for us, it is always the right material in the right place.